It's early in the morning and I'm recording Spawn issue number 26. You guys better be happy, bitches. We start off with a long description about how money is evil. Then we get a man screaming in his apartment. Mr. Barnett is getting his daughter taken away because he doesn't have enough money to provide for her. He goes to the courts to try to appeal this, but they just say the same thing. Fred Barnett is depressed about his daughter being taken away from him. Malebolgia sits on his throne in the 8th sphere of hell, talking to the demons and hell spawns within that sphere, all looking up to him. He says, "Let me tell you about this new hell spawn." Spawn's just sitting in the alleyways as a spider sinks his fangs into his fingers, not giving a shit. Spawn thinks about all these situations that have happened and how he's been a magnet for everyone's anger. Although he's using these situations to avoid his confrontation that he wants to have with Wanda. Then Cagliostro comes out of the corner and says, you're not avoiding these situations, you're just accumulating knowledge, although you don't know that yet. Cagliostro tells Spawn he's not trying hard enough and that everyone is born with darkness inside of them. So that's how Malebolgia first seeks out his targets. Although you can choose to ignore this darkness, people are born with it deep down. So he says, once you're chosen to lead Armageddon, or lead the war to Armageddon, which is the war against heaven for human souls. Malebolgia continues telling his story, and then he says, "Let me tell you what makes a true hell spawn." Spawn asks Cog, why 5 years? If I'm dead, why bother bringing me back 5 years later? And Cog says, this is just a test. See, devils are simply just tricksters in their nature. Which, by the way, if you didn't know, there's multiple devils ruling each sphere of hell, and Malebolgia is only one of those devils. He's not the devil. The devil himself is Satan, and that's the most powerful devil ruling over hell. Anyway, so he says they're all tricksters by nature, and you didn't read the fine print when you were selling your soul. One of the homeless people then bring Fred Barnett over to ask Al for help so he can get his daughter back. Spawn says, "I'm not your savior and I'm not gonna give you guys any help." He also calls him an outsider and says he only helps people within his alleyways. Then Cagliostro tells him that you shouldn't be so tough on these people. Malebolgia says, "Power. This is what makes a true hellspawn. What makes a true hellspawn is how they will turn dark anyway." He isolates them from their surroundings by putting them in a crossroads of their life as soon as he returns them back to Earth. And also, they will either dispatch the evildoers, which brings more souls to Malebolgia and aids him anyway, or they will turn evil themselves. Either way, it's a win-win. Cagliostro explains to Spawn that there are an infinite number of forces within their reality, and they all have their own agenda. So Spawn says this shit is here to stay, and Cog says not exactly. Spawn, after another conversation topic, is then shot off into heaven. This is a portion of heaven outside of time where nothing can harm them. Spawn meets Gabrielle here. She gives Spawn some wine and asks him about Angela. She says, "Do you remember her?" And he says, "Of course, she tried to kill me. Why?" And then she says, "Well, we've been looking for her lance. Do you know about her lance?" Spawn says, "Yes, I pressed the button and it sent me to a weird ass fucking dream, which is where he met Cerebus." The waiter then says, "Nonsense, it merely redefined you in terms of reality." Gabrielle continues to ask about the lance, and Spawn doesn't know where it is, so she says, "Thank you, Spawn, that's all I needed." Spawn says, "What the hell?" And then Cog says, "Heaven actually, not the one we were taught about. They keep heaven in different time continuums, so that's pretty cool." Then Spawn asks, "How the fuck do you know all this shit, man? Are you some kind of god?" And he says, "No, not very likely." He explains how he was once a man like Spawn, and he thought he could beat anyone. He had a war with heaven, and he almost won, didn't really win, and then he's still on the winning side. He also says that he believes this is all about winning. He also knows they need Spawn for something, but he just can't put his finger on what it is yet. Spawn's drunk in the alleyways explaining his story that happened in the Violator miniseries, which we might cover eventually. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway though, The Violator needed Spawn's powers to beat the Plebiac brothers, which are his brothers. So Spawn said, sure, here you go, take some of it. But the Violator actually gave his word and returned the powers back to Spawn, which was surprising. One of the homeless people then go up to Spawn saying, do you see what you've done? I hope you feel great about yourself. And he throws a newspaper at him. Spawn sees that a man commits suicide over the custody ruling, which was Fred Barnett. Spawn is very surprised and saddened by this. Spawn feels absolutely terrible about this and never wanted this shit to happen, obviously. That wraps up Spawn issue number 26. Damn, we're making progress. Let's go. Like the video if you enjoyed the video. If you didn't enjoy the video, well, guess what? Two cocks doesn't make a right. See you guys in the next one. Bye.